It's March 2016. I'm heading to the Chattahoochee National Forest in Clayton, Georgia, with trout fisherman and Bigfoot enthusiast Sam Wofford. Sam has been fishing the rivers in North Georgia since 1981. He was not a Bigfoot believer when he started, but several experiences he's had over the years have changed his mind. Sam is so emphatic telling his stories of what he believes to be Bigfoot encounters that I had to come up here with him. We hiked in a ways and set up camp. Then we headed out looking for rock structures in the river that Sam had seen here in the past. Unfortunately, the rock structures were gone.
This water's freezing and painful in February. Holy guacamole.
Sam headed to his favorite fishing spot, so I decided to scout out the area and hike the ridge overlooking our campsite. I did see some large impressions off trail, but nothing truly convincing in my opinion. Although in the area, there were several small trees snapped in half.
Well, I'm up here in the mountains in Clayton, Georgia. And there's signs of all kinds of animals. Claw marks from bears and down trees. Deer sign everywhere. But it's early. And we're spending the night. So we got several hours ahead of us. Well, it's getting to be about dusk. We're setting up some apples and some glow sticks and a trail cam. We'll see what we get. I'm here with Sam the Great. Got the fire going, dinner cooking.
My brother-in-law and I, he got out of the military. He worked for the military for 35 years. And we started going up to this Chattooga area, Chattooga River. And we would spend like 10 days and fish up here. And we would go down this trail which parallels the Chattooga River on the Georgia side. And we'd go to our fishing hole. We'd done this 2 or 3 days in a row because the fish were still biting in this area. So as we were going down the trail, my brother-in-law noticed that a very, very large tree, I would say 8 inches, 9 inches diameter, had come down directly over the trail and just caught this other tree with the little Y like that, so it was just like a saddle thing doing. He thought that was kind of strange because it wasn't there the day before. And so as we were walking there, he crossed underneath that area and I was like 10 feet behind him. As soon as he did that, we heard the most god-awful, huge splash of a huge rock behind us in the river. The river was like behind us and then downhill a little bit. And my brother-in-law, up to that point, he didn't really exactly believe in Bigfoot, although he heard some tree knocks before, but he still didn't want to believe it. But as soon as he heard that rock splash, he turned around and he said to me, "Don't say it." So I knew at that point he had probably come to the realization that something was going on. These Bigfoot shows that you see like Survivor Man going into Alberta, Canada, or British Columbia, like ever forever and a day to get to these locations, I've come to the conclusion from my camping adventures in North Georgia that they're right on the edge of where people are, and they get familiar with people's ways and stuff, and then you'll hear about coming into camp. Like I've had them in the Cohutta Wilderness outside my tent twice when I've gone up to the Cohutta Wilderness, and I mean they're there, and I think the more we start encroaching and taking the trees down, it's going to get worse and worse. And this other idea that these Bigfoot shows, saying that they're just a bunch of harmless little teddy bears, it's not true. They're an animal, or even they're just like, I think they're a human with some DNA change, and you start messing with their family or their territory. I mean, a human being's the same way. You start messing with your kids or your wife, I mean, you've had it.
It's kind of hard to pick anything up because, as you can hear, there's like a million frogs going crazy. Just so happens there's a little marshy area right over here. About a minute ago, the frogs all stopped suddenly for about 30 seconds, and then they started up again. Dead stop, for dead silence. It's crazy. Frogs just stopped again. Something obviously spooks them and they stop.
At that point, I turned on the trail cam and we finally called it a night. Later I reviewed the footage, but only saw a few moths flying around. We woke up to find the apples untouched. Of course, we did set them up close to camp, but if something was going to come out, I wanted it to come right to us.
Well, it was a long night. It was a little bit cold, but I heard some turkeys gobbling this morning. A little bit of branch breaking last night, but obviously it could be any million different animals. I know Sam's going to be a little disappointed, but all in all, it's still an amazing trip in my opinion. Just getting out here. Beautiful. Starting to get a little dusky out. I always get interrupted every time I try to talk.